Hey Lisa, I've been working late today, so you don't need to prepare any supper for me.
What? You're working late again? What time do you think you'll be home then?
I told you this before, but it's always hard to know. My boss is taking me out for drinks and it's not in my control. I'm sure we'll be done by the last train.
You've been coming home late a lot lately.
It's not like I'm doing this on purpose. Going out for drinks after work is part of my job. Sucking up to your boss is important if you want to move up in the world.
I guess that's true. But I hear your coworker Brady doesn't come home too late. I bumped into his wife the other day and she told me that he hasn't had to work overtime at all lately.
Oh yeah, he's given up on getting any promotions, that's why. I'm guessing he's happy staying where he is forever. He's already labeled as useless at a company. That's why he's never invited to come out after work.
But isn't it a good thing that he gets to spend more time with his family? I don't think it's necessary to go out every night.
Well, I'm not always going out with the same people. I want to create a broad range of personal connections. It's especially important that I try really hard right now. This could decide whether I have an opportunity to get a promotion in the future.
Okay, I guess I understand then. Just make sure you don't drink too much.
Of course, I know that.
I know you can't help it today, but it would make me very happy if you tried coming home early more often. It's hard for me to be alone with your mom all the time.
Why? What do you mean?
I just told you about this the other day. Were you not paying attention?
Oh, is it about you feel like she's picking on you?
Yeah. For instance, she made me clean the entire storage room this morning. I can't help but to think that she's doing these things just to be mean.
What other things did she do to make you feel that way?
Well, she made me clean the storage room thoroughly last week as well. Despite that, I had to take out everything and wipe her again today for no apparent reason. It wasn't even dirty to begin with, and she hardly ever even uses that room anyway. I think she's just running out of places for me to clean.
Why don't you just make up some excuse and say no? You're only stressed out because you take things too seriously all the time.
But she would bother me all day if I didn't do as she says. She says things like, "Oh, I shouldn't have let you marry my son." Or, "I wish I could trade you off with a younger and more beautiful wife for my son." What's more, today she told me that because I'm in my 30s now, I'm old and hideous.
Well, isn't that how it works for every mother-in-law and daughter-in-law relationship? I'm sure everyone deals with these things. It's not like you're the only one with this problem, so don't worry about it.
How could you say things like that? Who am I supposed to trust if you're not even on my side?
Don't say things like that, I'm not picking sides. It's my mother we're talking about.
But it's really hard for me to hear her talk to me this way every single day. I'm trying my hardest to get her approval, but I think she's already made up her mind from the beginning that she doesn't like me. She's constantly making me do random, unnecessary tasks and talking down to me. Do you realize how difficult this is to deal with every day?
What do you want to do then?
When you're around, she doesn't treat me that way. That's why I want you to be home more often.
Well, I have to work, so it's not possible.
I know that. I guess I'd just like you to not go out after work as often, if you can. Or maybe you can try talking to your mom about this?
I don't know. I feel like I've been making her out to be a horrible person.
Well, she is picking on me.
It's not like she's hitting you. Just don't think about it, you're making it a way bigger deal than it is.
Can you say the same thing if this was happening to you?
I don't think it would bother me. I have to go through way harder things than this at one time. I can't even keep track of how many times I've been talked down to. But even then, I'm expected not to complain and keep a smile on my face. It annoys me that I have to listen to these types of complaints when you are mostly able to relax at home.
It's fine, just forget it.
I'm glad you finally understand how selfish you're being. You have to realize how fortunate you are. Everything is provided for you. And the only thing you have to do is deal with my mom.
It wasn't my choice to quit my job. You were the one who asked me to quit and stay home with your mom.
But you ultimately made that decision. Don't complain about the choices you made for yourself. You should just appreciate the fact that you can stay home and not have any responsibilities. I don't want to hear about this ever again. Just solve these issues on your own.
Hey, Max. How could you do this to me? Please unlock the door and let me in.
I told you I'm not letting you in the house anymore. I will ship all your stuff to your parents' house. You can sign the divorce papers later. Wait until you hear from me.
On top of suddenly asking me for a divorce, you kicked me out without notice. How could you do this to me?
Well, I'll let you have your personal items like your wallet.
Even so, shouldn't we at least talk about it?
What do you mean? You don't want to get divorced? Even though we barely see each other lately.
That's because you hardly ever come home. I would be lying if I said it never crossed my mind. But even then, isn't it wrong to ask me to leave without first talking about things?
It's hard to live in the same house as someone you are divorcing. Why do I have to keep taking care of you until you're ready to leave?
I didn't ask you to support me. All I wanted was to have a proper amount of time to gather my things. I don't think it's normal to kick your spouse out like that without even talking about things first.
It's meaningless to talk about it when all I want is divorce. We will see each other when you sign the divorce papers. Isn't that good enough?
How are you planning to meet up? You know my parents' home is really far from here, right?
Well, you can travel back here when it's time.
Seriously? How selfish are you?
Well, if you don't like it, then why don't you stay at a nearby hotel until the papers are ready? But don't even think about asking me to pay for it.
Is the reason you're divorcing me because there's someone else?
What are you talking about?
Well, your mother told me. She said that you will definitely bring home a young, pretty girl one of these days.
That's just something my mom made up.
Well, you had been staying out often. Sometimes even overnight. You said you'd been sleeping in the office, but I have trouble believing that.
Well, I was actually sleeping at a cheap motel near work.
I don't need to hear your lame excuses. In your suit pants pocket, I found a receipt from a woman's clothing store. And I noticed the credit card bill had charged for an expensive hotel. I'm pretty sure you even went on an overnight spa trip. So you're divorcing me because there's someone else, right?
Where's your proof?
Well, all those credit card bills and stuff.
That doesn't prove anything. I just stayed at the nice hotel and went to the spa trip on my own. Aren't you desperate? Now that we're getting divorced, you're just making things up to get alimony from me. It's exactly this type of behavior that is causing you to be dumped.
If you're so perfect, show me your smartphone.
What? Why would I do that?
If you're so clean, you have nothing to hide, right?
That's invading my privacy. You're such a joke. But I guess I'm glad you're this way. It makes me even happier that I'm divorcing you.
What would you do if I said I don't want a divorce?
Then we'll have to fight on a court. Either way, I don't want to live in the same house as you anymore. Pleasant every time I see you. I have zero feelings for you anymore. And yet I'm giving you a fair split of our assets. So there's no reason for the court to not accept this divorce.
You talk about a fair share, but there's hardly anything to begin with. All the money that we had saved, you wasted on unnecessary things.
Couldn't be helped, it was all necessary purchases. Think about what the neighbors might think with you just standing there. Please leave the property now. I'm never gonna let you in the house.
You're a horrible jerk until the end.
Didn't you mold me into this person? You clearly didn't do a good job performing your duties as a wife. My mother is saying she can't wait for me to find a wife that is way better than you.
Karma is gonna get you too badly if you keep acting this way.
What possible bad thing could happen to me by breaking up with such a useless wife? Maybe you should worry about yourself. Aren't you worried about whether a simple housewife like you can even get a proper job again?
I can always find work as long as I'm not too picky.
Yeah, I guess you can always find minimum paying jobs. Well, we just aren't made for each other. So stop with this nonsense and leave already. We're getting divorced because you were a bad wife. Just know that you aren't suited for marriage. And go on with your life with that lesson in mind. Hey Lisa, it's been a while.
What? Max?
Yeah, it's me. Happy to see you the other day. So that's why I thought I'd reach out and say hello.
Is that so? And is there anything else? I'd appreciate it if you didn't bother me again for no reason.
Yeah, you don't need to be so cruel. I'm your ex-husband, for Pete's sake.
Yeah, ex-husband. We're just complete strangers now. I deleted your contact info and all our past messages because I have nothing to say to you anymore.
Well, why didn't you block me or something, then?
That's because I completely forgot that you even existed. I didn't even think to block you.
You don't need to be so harsh. I do feel bad about how I acted during our divorce. I realize now that it was a bit too one-sided.
I don't care about that at this point.
Oh, by the way, did I hear it right that you're working in the hospital now?
Why, is that where you saw me?
Yes. You don't have any nurse's license or anything, so I've heard that it's a tough job. How you liking it?
I told you it's none of your business. Stop texting me if you don't have any specific reason. I will make sure to block you this time. And I will ignore you even if I bump into you at the hospital. I expect you to do the same. Bye then.
Wait! I do have something specific to tell you.
What is it?
Do you want me to support you financially?
What?
I'm sure you were tired of being used by nurses. Making ends meet every month. Wouldn't it be nice if you can go back to being a simple housewife?
I don't understand what you're trying to say. I never, ever want to live with you ever again.
Well, you can commute then.
Commute?
Mom got dementia, so I need you to come take care of her. She's been really bad lately, and it's getting too much for me to handle by myself.
Is that so?
I know we broke up, but she used to be your mother-in-law. Mom is also saying that she'd happily accept help if it's yours. That would include free breakfast, lunch, and dinner. How's that?
You are joking, right? Nobody would ever accept volunteer work like that. Besides, my mother-in-law passed away 3 years ago.
What? Passed away? You are the one with the jokes. She's very much alive.
I said my mother-in-law, meaning my husband's mother.
What? Are you married?
Yep.
It's only been 6 years.
You mean it's already been 6 years?
But you said your mother-in-law passed away 3 years ago. Does that mean you were already married 3 years ago?
Yes. Is that a problem?
Yeah, you were not as innocent as I thought.
What? Are you kidding me? You've got some nerve. You're the one who quickly remarried someone right after we got divorced.
You knew about my marriage?
Yeah, all the neighbors were talking about it. Saying you got a new wife right after you kicked me out. I also know that you guys broke up. I guess they thought I would like to know that as well.
Mom and I talked, and the young wife was completely useless, and I regret breaking up with you.
Well, I have zero regrets. I'm even happy that we broke up.
You don't need to pretend to be tough. He's the kind of husband who's still making you work after all. And he married you and you're already past your prime. He must be a miserable old man who can't even provide.
Who do you think you are?
Why don't you just leave the loser and come back to me? I will never make you work just to make ends meet. You can go back to doing simple house chores.
I've had enough of your nonsense. You are the old, miserable man who has no ability to provide for the family. Besides, I'm not working at the hospital.
What? But I saw you wearing an apron and helping an elderly person in a wheelchair. I also saw you talking to the hospital staff.
I was just taking my husband's relative out for a stroll. My husband owns that hospital. Of course I talk to the staff from time to time.
What? Your new husband is a doctor then?
That's right.
That's a pretty big hospital too.
Well, yeah, big enough to have an inpatient's ward.
I see. Then please let my mom be admitted to the hospital.
Don't nursing home for her. That's not what we do at our hospital.
I'm sure you can do something about it if it's just one person.
It doesn't work that way. Quit joking around and look for a proper institute for her. What kind of person thinks to ask his ex-wife to take his mother-in-law in because you can't care for her yourself? I'm worried about your mental state.
I can't even afford any nursing homes. I had to pay a lot of alimony and my last wife loved expensive things. On top of that, because my mom isn't feeling well, she caused a lot of trouble with people and I'm still paying compensation for the damage she caused.
That has nothing to do with me.
Please help me! I haven't been able to go to work lately. And the house is a mess as well. I could only ask you for something like this.
Weren't you the one who ignored me when I asked you for help when your mother was picking on me? Didn't you say that it's my fault for taking things too seriously? And on top, you cheated on me and kicked me out saying we're getting a divorce. So what makes you think that I'd want to help you after all that? How many times do you have to stomp all over me until you're satisfied?
I don't want to stomp all over you, it's just that you were the kindest person I know, and Mom also agrees that you were the best wife for me.
It's too late for anything, and I will never forgive either of you. You guys deserve this. A mother-in-law whose only joy in life is to pick on her daughter-in-law, and a garbage husband who cheats on his wives. No one would ever want to help people who are like that.
Lisa, I'm sorry, I really am. It would make a big difference if you could help even just a little bit. Please help me take care of her. I promise I will come up with a solution to make it worth your while.
The reason why nobody's willing to help you right now is because of how you have treated others in the past. You did it to yourself, so deal with it.
If I could deal with this myself, I wouldn't be asking. I've never paid any attention to what it takes to run a house. All I know is my work. Please help me. I will do anything. I'll even grovel at your feet if that helps. Please help.
Stop whining and go ask for advice from City Hall. They will help even a piece of garbage like you. Oh, and one last thing. I wasn't a bad wife who isn't suited for marriage. Because I'm happily married right now. My only mistake was marrying a defective garbage husband. Right after I sent him that message, I made sure to block him this time. And apparently he caused a scene by storming into my husband's hospital and demanding to see me. Of course, we called the police and had him removed from the property. We made him promise that he will never come near me nor the hospital. And we also informed his boss about the incident as well. That boss is actually Brady, the colleague Max used to look down on. I guess it ended up being Max who never received any promotion. I really regret marrying a loser like him, but I'm trying to think that I have my happiness right now because of the past. I have no idea what happened to them since then, but I happened to walk by their house a few years later, and it looked very run down, like it was in ruins. Anyway, it's none of my business how they are anymore. I just want to always remember to appreciate my husband, my family, and people around me for loving and supporting me, and I want to cherish this happiness in life forever.
Hey Jack, did you hear anything from your mom?
Yeah, she said that she broke her leg while hiking. She really pushed herself too far. She shouldn't be hiking at her age anymore. Her back is too weak for it these days.
We did our best to talk her out of it, but I guess she went anyway. She contacted me as well, by the way. She asked you to come and visit her in the hospital.
What, really? The hospital she's in is all the way upstate, though. Since she went hiking all the way over there.
She asked to be transferred back down here, but apparently they don't want to move her just yet, and it might take over a week for a free bed to appear in a hospital nearby. She wanted you to come visit at least one time.
Man, really? It's so far, though. The drive will take at least an hour one way. Why is it going to take them so long to transfer her?
I guess they don't want to move her straight after the trauma because of her age, and there is the thing about free beds, too. She wanted you to bring her some things since she'll be there for such a long time. I know you'll have to go out of your way, but do it for her, okay?
Why don't you go instead? I'm really busy at the moment. I don't have time to be wasting driving all the way there. Besides, aren't women more suited to things like this anyway? I think it would be way better for you to go instead of me.
I'm busy with work too, you know. And it's your mom. You shouldn't make me responsible for things like these.
She might be my mom, but she's also your mother-in-law. She even lives with us. Don't you feel any sense of familial responsibility towards her?
Yeah, but you know how she treats me all the time, don't you? And as for her living with us, that just happened out of nowhere. I wasn't even consulted about it.
Don't start complaining about that now. You agreed to it in the end, too.
That's true, but she doesn't help around the house at all. It's just more work for me. You told me that she would do her best to not make more work. And she promised that she would do her part around the house.
She's getting old, Tanya. It's hard for her to do much each day.
Then what about you? You could help me out with no problems. I also work, you know. I'm not at home all day.
But I'm way busier at work than you are. Don't compare your office work to mine. You've got it easy in comparison. That's why I make more money than you. I'm the one bringing home the bacon, you know?
Don't say it like that. Besides, even if you do make more than me, we'd struggle to keep afloat without both of our incomes. Especially with the way you and your mom spend money.
Don't spout such nonsense. You're barely bringing anything compared to me. So I'll leave you to bring those things to Mom.
She seems to want you to be the one to visit, not me. Why not take some paid leave and drive up? That way you won't have to rush or try to fit it in on a workday.
Then why don't you take yours and go?
I used some recently to take your mom and a friend who was in town out for the day, remember? I can't just be using them all up like that. They might be more necessary later.
But you still have a bunch left. So you can do it. Anyway, I need to head back to work. Oh, and I'll be home late again tonight.
Wait, Jack. Just hold on a second. Don't put this onto me. This conversation isn't over. Jack! Jack, I have something to talk to you about, Amanda. Can you come back home early tonight?
No, I can't. Just tell me what you want to talk about over text.
It looks like she'll be in a wheelchair for the rest of her life.
What?
You know, she got checked out of the hospital and was given the clear to live at home. But it seems like she hasn't been going to the doctors for rehabilitation at all. And even when she was in the hospital, the doctor said all she did was complain and didn't listen to them. Can you talk to her about it? She should listen to you. Otherwise, she might really not be able to walk for the rest of her life.
Well, that's fine, isn't it? She's the one who was saying that she is fine with being in a wheelchair.
It's not fine! I asked my boss to reduce my shifts for a short time so that I could look after her until she got better. Are you telling me that I'm going to have to care for her like this from now on?
What's wrong with that? You can just quit your job.
Are you serious?
You don't make that much money there anyway. It will be a better use of your time to look after my mom.
You're not going to help me?
And how exactly am I supposed to help? My company won't let me take shorter hours for that.
But what about weekends and any time you have days off? You can look after her on those days.
I'm gonna be tired from working all week long. What, am I not allowed to have any days off, even at home?
What about me? I don't get any time off with her. It's 24/7. I have to get up to help her go to the bathroom in the middle of the night. And she even keeps contacting me while I'm at work during the day. Then I come home and have to do all of the housework by myself. You need to help me out a bit more.
I have lots of important work to do, so I can't. Just shut it and look after her.
What happened to you? You've really changed ever since you started living with us. You used to listen to me and my opinions way more before. Now you won't take anything I say into consideration at all.
What? Me? I haven't changed at all.
I'm saying you have. You always come home late, and even on your days off, you're barely home. You never think of me at all.
Did you message me just to give me a scolding?
No, I didn't. That's not it. But I do want you to think more of the home and what's happening here, and not just work all the time. If things stay like this, I don't know if I can live with you anymore.
What are you saying then? Are you threatening me with divorce?
It's not a threat. I want you to realize that it could be a possibility if you push me too far.
And what are you gonna do if we divorce, huh? Both of your parents have passed away. Who's gonna look after you? You won't have anywhere to go.
I'll figure it out somehow.
It's possibly because you always act like this to me that I might have changed. I come home tired from work, and what do? Start complaining that my mom did this or she did that. There's nowhere for me to take a break even at home.
It's exactly the same for me too.
I told you not to lump us together. You're just doing odd jobs. You don't work properly. Don't ask me anymore about my mom. She's your responsibility.
So you're not going to even talk to her about going to her rehabilitation program? Do you realize what will happen in that case?
No, I don't. I'll leave that to you. That's your job.
I didn't ask you what is my job or not. Next week, I'm meeting with the doctors at the hospital. You should come too. It's important.
God, you're so stubborn. Don't bring this up again.
Jack, have you seen my car keys? Did you take them by accident?
Yeah, I have them. You won't be needing them anymore.
What? Why? I'll be late to work without the car.
I already called ahead to your work.
What? About what?
Just quit your job. I also took your bank cards. So don't even think about running away from me.
What are you talking about?
I told your work that you won't be coming in anymore. You're gonna look after my mom full time from now on.
You did what? You told them that I quit?
Yeah, exactly. Now that I'm the only one bringing in money, you better listen to what I say.
You're being serious. All of my bank cards are gone from my wallet.
It's not like you had that much money on your accounts anyway. You really were working for peanuts. There's no way you can survive without me. Make sure you listen to what I tell you now.
Peanuts? You think that what's on those accounts is all that I was making?
Well, I guess you did a pretty good job managing to save that much from such a low salary.
It's not like I had freedom to save all of my pay. It's been going to our expenses too.
So what? Even then, it doesn't hold a candle to how much I make in comparison. Listen up! From now on, your one job is to look after my mother. Don't leave the house without my permission. I've already decided this is how it's gonna be, so don't even think of complaining or refusing. Oi, Tanya! I just got a credit card bill of over $2,000. What the hell is this?
That's how much you and your mom spent. It's the same every month.
There's no way that's the case. I have always put in $1,500 for rent on the bills. We've always managed to get by on that.
I told you that I had been making up the difference from my own pay.
You weren't even making enough to make up the difference. We need another $2,000, otherwise we won't be able to pay. There's still a bunch of things to pay off this month, too.
I told you all of this before. You and your mom spend money so wastefully. Have a careful look at the bank statement. All of it was the two of you.
I just checked it. I never thought that you were spending this much.
I've shown you your receipts countless times, though. I guess you didn't pay any attention at all. You never listened to what I said properly.
More importantly, what are we supposed to do about this bill?
How am I supposed to know? I wasn't the one who spent the money. And you were the one who said that you'll take care of the finances from now on. You made me quit my job, and now I'm always at home.
I know! We can take it from your savings. You had over $500 in there, that'll cover it. Let's do that this month to settle everything.
Fine, whatever. I'll get that money back from you in the settlement anyway.
What? What settlement are you talking about?
The divorce settlement. The two of us are done.
Are you being serious about that? You're gonna divorce me while having no job or money of your own.
What's wrong with that?
You won't be able to survive on your own.
That's not your problem. Not like you actually care anyway. It's clear that you have no feelings of love for me anymore anyway.
That's not true.
I already know, Jack, that you've been cheating on me.
What?
I'm right, aren't I? All of a sudden, you started coming home late from work, and you weren't spending any time at home on the weekends anyway. It stands out kind of clearly.
Those things don't mean that I was cheating. With my mom in the house, I just didn't want to be around all the time, so I started to leave on weekends.
I thought that might have been the case at first, but that's not really the truth, is it? After you made me leave my job, I hired a private investigator to look into your behavior. And just as I thought, they came back and told me that you really were cheating. I don't need your excuses and lies. I know everything already.
Okay, I see. I'll break up with my girlfriend, then it's fine, right?
It's not fine. Honestly, even more than that, the thing I can't forgive you for is how you've been acting towards me. You live your life and spend our money how you please while forcing all of the housework and your mother's issues onto me. I found myself always thinking why on earth I got married in the first place. What for? But I finally understood. The only reason I hadn't divorced you before was because I was still holding on to old memories of when things were better. I thought it was because I still loved you. That's not it.
Don't say things like that. You can make things work out better.
You're only saying that now. If we divorce and I leave, you're the one who will have to look after your mom. That's the only reason you care if I leave or not, right? I don't plan on living for the sake of your convenience anymore.
That's not it. I see now how I've been behaving, so think it over one more time. I help out with looking after my mom, and you can start working again too.
Oh, so now you want me to work because you realized how tight finances are? You really are just using me for your own gain.
I'm not!
I can't believe anything you say anymore. That's why I'm leaving. It doesn't matter how much you apologize to me. I'll be going for a big settlement in court, too.
A settlement? But I'm telling you that there's not a lot of money.
You can get a loan to pay me then, or pay it in installments. I don't care. You can sell your car, too.
Is there no way to avoid the divorce?
No. We can do this the easy way or the hard way. If you try to avoid the divorce, we'll have to do it through arbitration. But if you sign the divorce papers by the end of today, I won't go after your money in court.
How am I even supposed to pay off this credit card bill, though?
Why don't you ask your mom to help you out? It seems as though she has savings of her own. You can pay the card off with that and bring things to an end.
You're right, I'll do it like that. I'll sign the papers today, too. But could you do me a favor, even if only for a bit?
Could you keep looking after Mom for me? I need some time to sort things out regarding her.
In that case, the situation changes. I'll see you in court.
Wait, no! Just for a few days more! Come on, you've just told me that you want to get a divorce. Isn't it fine to negotiate a little? Just give me a little time to sort things out properly.
Did you ever compromise or negotiate with me? No, you always chose things one-sidedly. You forced your mother onto me, even went ahead and called my job and told them that I quit. You made all of these decisions without compromises or even listening to what I wanted.
Look, I'm sorry. I thought it wouldn't hurt to ask.
I'm not your wife anymore. We're not family. Don't try to burden strangers with your mother and her problems.
I'm sorry. I know I'm in the wrong. I really have been horrible.
I know that. I'm divorcing you because I have finally opened my eyes to that. Listen here. You're going to sign the papers by the end of the day. If you don't, like I said before, I'm going to go after you in court. Understand? If so, don't bring up the divorce again or try to stop me. This is what I've decided. I won't accept any complaints or refusal. That evening, Jack returned home from work and meekly signed the divorce papers and gave me back the cards he had taken from me. I withdrew about half of what I had and gave it to him before leaving the house forever. Truth be told, I had been preparing for the divorce for some time. While working my regular office job, I also secretly worked another job on the side so that I could save up more. Of course, I opened a separate banking account that Jack didn't know about too. That's why he thought I only had around $5,000 in savings. I would have liked to leave him as soon as he forced me to quit my job, but there was a lot to prepare for. I needed to look for a place to live that I could move to immediately, and just generally make sure that I had enough money saved up to support myself with all the initial expenses that pile up when moving into a new house on your own. All of that took even longer than planned since I had to look after Amanda so much that I barely had any time to myself. In the end, though, I think the divorce and everything went rather smoothly. Really, the final straw was Jack telling my job that I would no longer be coming in. I had been agonizing over whether I should leave him or not, but that moment cleared all of my doubts and helped me make up my mind. It took a while, but I'm happy that I was finally able to make the right decision for me, and I have no regrets about it. The money that I had saved secretly in the separate account would also have been more than anything I would have gotten from Jack in the divorce. So I'm glad that I was able to leave him smoothly without his finding out about my secret account. Jack has contacted me a few times since the divorce. He has his hands full trying to work full-time while also looking after his selfish mom. He has asked me to help him out with looking after her again. It goes without saying that I refuse categorically. Later on, I also heard that Jack and the girlfriend who he was cheating on me with had a big fight and broke up. He could no longer spend all the time and money on her that he had before since I was no longer around to allow it. Apparently, Jack and his mom's finances are also kind of lacking, which leads to a lot of arguments between the two of them. It's only a matter of time before Amanda's savings run out too, and then they'll be in real trouble. I don't know what will come of them, but I doubt it'll be anything good. Of course, we are no longer married or have anything to do with each other. We're back to being strangers, so I couldn't care less about what happens to either of them. I have supported them long enough. From now on, I'm going to focus more on myself and do what makes me happy. I've also gotten a new job, so with that, I can have total financial freedom and enjoy my life to the fullest.